Hey, this is Staci Sadler, and today we're going to be discussing the aura personality of orange, and they're called the Summiteer. Here's my book. I'm the author of this book, and I wrote about many of the layers of the light that surround people. Today, in talking about orange, the Summiteer, I reread the heading Own the Earth, Sea, and Sky. Oranges they know the planet is really for us as humans and that we share it, and they respect that. They respect the weather, the seasons, the cycles of life, all of the creations, but they really feel connected in their bodies enough to know that the earth is here for their use and their enjoyment and even their subduing, I guess you would say. They are the ones really taking advantage of all that life has to offer, by way of land, sky, and bodies of water. The entire world is literally an enormous playground for them. They don't feel guilty for dirt biking through pristine forests or placing metal climbing spikes along walls of rock in the mountains. They're using the earth. And they just think of life as something that is here to be experienced fully by using their bodies, using the physical resources of the earth that surround all of us. There's something that I've been thinking about oranges in particular is they are in the physical environment or personality family, which means that they focus primarily on themselves in their surroundings, and they actually consider things in terms of spatial awareness more than anything else. I always think it's a good practice to consider any of the layers of light that might surround a person. And if somebody had orange in their layers of light, and the layers of light are fixed, so if somebody has this layer, it will be evident in them. But if somebody has this in their layers of light, you want to think of their kind or type of intelligence. And so with the physical environment family, that would be, there would be some kinesthetic intelligence, but much more spatial intelligence. So for most traditional school classroom learning, you're not going to see evidence of their kinds of intelligence until they get into the later fields of like engineering or space, literally, or construction, or so building anything, mapping anything, surveyors. There's just so many different things, but often with oranges in particular, they tend to be the ones that show up and think of like, what can I do in this environment? How can I dominate that river or climb that mountain. It really is kind of literal like that. And obviously not all oranges are going to be people who are climbing mountains, but there is a draw for them to get out and participate and be a part of nature. I often wonder about in Utah it's called the Bureau of Land Management. I often wonder how many of the people who find themselves in those kinds of jobs where they're sleeping under the stars and dropping from helicopters into the middle of fires, or military people who are doing similar things, who just have an ease with being in their environment and being a part of it. And I just wonder how many of them might fit under the category or have the layer of light of orange around them. Another trait of the Summiteer is actually that of protector or guardian, and that's the trait I've been thinking about the most with them recently, in that they actually can have a kind of gentle, solid presence about them, where maybe even a little bit more than the other two physical environment personalities, there's an awareness and maybe a gift of being protectors for the rest of us. They're definitely keeping mind of surroundings, of safety, of just kind of an awareness of who might need protecting and what might need protecting. And so you'll feel kind of a sense of, sometimes you could almost feel a sense of superiority with them, But don't think of it as that. It's that they just don't tend to walk in a lot of fear. And so, in that way, they kind of are a little bit separate from the rest of us because so many of us can feel, more vulnerable in our environment or less protected depending on the people that we're around. And oranges just kind of never go into that space. They tend to feel very confident and solid in who they are, which is a real gift and a blessing to have someone like that in your life.